had 2 weeks in quarantine to practice and go through this. Of course, I left until yesterday. My name's Steve, Steve Abbey. I live in Hong Kong. I'm the oldest child. Thank you all for coming today. It's a pretty sad day for everybody, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm going to focus on some of the things that my dad did, which we all thought were pretty funny, maybe a little silly, but ultimately showing what sort of person he actually really was. I can give you a story of Brian Charles Abbey, who was born the 5th child. His sister being here, 5th child, youngest in Wagga. His exploits as a rugby player, his exploits in poetry, his exploits in the field of athletics, and all that other stuff. But really what I'd like to discuss is my dad as a man. I could also talk about his MG, which he loved to talk about, but really it's Brian Abbey, the person, that I'd like to talk about. He was truly a devoted husband. I don't know anyone who's devoted as much of his life to one woman as did with my mum. I've never seen anything like it. I haven't seen it replicated anywhere, and I can't do it myself. So there must be something magical there. In fact, as kids, the four of us grew up thinking that everyone had a dad like ours. He was just our dad. As a dad you could rely on, you could trust him, you could believe in him. Our dad was just our dad, normal. He was just normal to us. But in fact, we were really, really, really lucky. We had a dad that was our safety net, our anchor, and not everyone has a dad like that. Truly they don't. I think I'm one of those dads, but not many people have those dads. In fact, not just dad, but Brian and Brenda were both our anchors. We can barely get through this. If all else failed, dad and mum will always be there. They always made things good. Right up until he was really sick, and even then, dad put his family above himself. There are just so many examples of dad's selflessness and devotion. I'll try and be funny here. Back in 1986, in a bid to keep troublesome teenagers off the streets of Canberra during rugby season, the local government came up with this ingenious Operation Home Safely. The idea was to have kids home by 2 and their parents would have a contract with you that you would agree and sign, and they would come and pick you up at whatever time you called. They'd give you money for a taxi. And I was a rugby player, and I'd be out every Saturday with my rugby mates, and I'd tap down in my pocket, and there was the $20 Dad had given me for taxis. And I go, perfect. So I'd get that $20 out and buy stuff with it, alcohol or what have you, and then I'd go, great, I'll just keep 20 cents so I can call my dad. So at 2:30, many weekends in a row, I'd pick up the phone and say, Operation Home Safely, you got to come and get me, remember the contract? And Dad would go, ugh, and he'd get in the car and drive and pick me up. I'd get in the car, and I won't tell you the state I was in, but I'd get in the car, and Dad would say nothing, no judgment, that was the contract. We'd get home, we'd wake up the next day, say nothing, next week, same thing again and again and again. After 10 weeks of pure exhaustion, my dad says to me, listen, we're not doing that anymore, that contract's over, I'm cancelling it. And I go, yeah, but that's the contract, you signed it, I signed it, it's a deal. And Dad goes, well, no, that's it, your mother's exhausted, I'm beat up, I'm just not doing this anymore. Anyway, about the 11th week, it's 2:30 and I arm myself for a 15-kilometre walk home on a dangerous highway. I don't know how he found me, he pulls up in the car and he goes, Operation Home Safely, you jerk, get in the car. So I got in the car, we drove home, and he didn't say a word, but I tell you, I swear to God, I never did that call again. It was pretty funny. I just made it up. We used to be so embarrassed. I remember going to rugby games or school sporting carnivals or what have you, and I turn around and I go, please let Mum and Dad not be there. And I turn around and there they were, hi, and they're waving, hi, good luck in your race. And I go, oh God, and my friends are going, hey, Mum and Dad are here again, blah, blah, blah. And I go, oh God, Mum, please don't come. Every single sporting event, every single rugby game, every single soccer game, there's my mum and dad going, hey, good luck in your race, good luck in high jump, remember, 1.6 meters, blah, blah, blah. Not everyone had parents like that. I look back now and I go, oh my God, I was the only kid that had, or the 3 kids or 4 kids were the only ones that had our dad there. It's pretty crazy. Dad also told me the story of sorry, I'll go back a little bit. Anyway, my dad was a truly nice guy. He really, really was a nice guy. But I think his special trait was empathy. I think he was quite a shy man actually, like a very reserved, quiet man, but showed his people that he was outgoing, but he wasn't actually. So when he walked along the beach, as everyone sees him now, but he's always been like this. He's just truly empathic. And I remember I was walking on the beach with him not long ago with my youngest, Amelie, and this guy comes up and he's clearly mentally challenged. And the guy comes up and my dad starts talking to him, and 30 minutes later I'm looking at my clock, Amelie's looking at her clock. My dad's talking about dogs and cars and the beach and surf and all this stuff. And you could tell that this guy loved my father. He just loved him. And my dad loved him back. And I walked away and I go, Dad, do you know that guy? And he goes, yeah, that's Mark, I think it was. That's Mark. He's, I think he's got some mental defect. I don't know what it is, but he's just a really nice guy. And I go, that's amazing. Do you do that with everybody? We walked along the beach and Amelie's saying, come on, Dad. Oh, come on, Granddad, let's go to the water. He goes, no. We'd walk along and literally every second person would stop. And he just loved people like that. I think he liked people that hurt. I think he'd like to feel that he could fix other people and make them feel better. It was pretty insane like that. I know I'm jumping around here a little bit. I'll tell a funny story from Canada. Dad absolutely hated leaving the Golden Triangle. Has anyone heard that expression before? I didn't know there was such a thing. I thought it was a heroin smuggling place in Thailand, but apparently it's Mooloolaba, Maroochydore, Nambour down to Biwa that creates a triangle, which has got the hinterland, the rivers, the beaches and all that. Well, Dad called that the Golden Triangle, and he hated leaving it. He absolutely hated it. But one day I begged him to come over to Canada, to Montreal, to have a white Christmas. I said, Dad, please come over. I know it's cold, but just come over to White Christmas. You'll love it. It's like this crazy Santa Claus environment. There's White Christmas. It's just something else. And Dad gets over there and it's -10 and it's snowing and it's perfect Canadian White Christmas. Our house is built like a gingerbread house and we made Santa and all this stuff. And Dad looks at me and he goes, I hate this place. He goes, I want to go, he says it to me, he goes, I want to get out of here, I want to go home. And I go, why? I look around and I go, Dad, it's snowing, there's a 12-kilo turkey roasting in the oven, my wife is basting it, there's kids running around, it's like Christmas stuff everywhere. He goes, I just want to go home. He goes, and I've got to quote it here. He says, it's freezing cold during the winter and wet, and in summer it's humid and hot. I said, I want to get out of here. And he goes, not to mention there's bloody Canadians here. And he looks around and he goes, well, except for Isabel and your grandkids. And Isabel goes, good one, Mr. Abbey. Anyway, except for you, but they're Australians anyway. Anyway, I'm going to end on one final story which I think encapsulates my father's writing prowess. They come over in summer in 2015. And we took the girls, my two daughters, I was 11 and 9 at the time. We'd take them to the pub, the local pub that Dad liked going to. And it was their birthdays a little while later. And Mum and Dad wrote them this card. And I don't know whether you know my mum, but she's very, very properly spoken, and my dad's a bit more of an Aussie. And he likes to write. And so they wrote them cards with money in it, and I don't think I've ever laughed as hard. It's got Julian, the young one, picks up the card and she starts reading it. She can't really read Dad's writing because it's a running writing, but she can clearly read my mother's. Mum wrote, to our precious granddaughter, Amelie, thank you for the kind and loving things you did for us during this visit. It was lovely to play with you and your ferrets. It was lots of fun in the pool and at the soccer. We are proud of you and everything you do. Love, Grandma XXX. Immediately below that, Dad wrote, it was great to see you and your rats playing 300 games of soccer and generally being too busy to annoy me. I genuinely appreciated the one yes answer you gave me as it gives me hope. Dodgy. And Julianne, the older one, gets up and she's crying with tears. And she gets up and she was laughing because the ferrets were very smelly, and the fact that Dad called them rats was very funny, she found. She gets her card and she can't wait to read hers, and it says, this is Mum. To our precious granddaughter Julianne, thank you for being so kind and loving to us during your visit. It was lovely to play in the pool, watch your soccer and visit your school. We are very proud of you and what you've achieved. Love Grandma XXX. Dad, I simply love being drenched at your soccer, frozen to the bone, and bitten to death by insects. I wish I could be here always for all of these things. Dodgy. The girls cried every time their grandparents left to go back home, or they left Australia to go back to Canada. There are many, many stories of my dad's devotion to his family and the kindness to others. He deeply cared about the community, especially children and the people he needed, and he considered needed care and love. He always put others before himself. My father was the embodiment of the word selfless. The last words he said to me were, look after your mother. Dad, we'll miss you and we'll love you always. Thank you.